everyone, this is Shadows.
And Chaos.
We're from the Shadows of the Moon podcast. We're here to tell you about Anchor and how it's the easiest way to make a podcast.
And I heard it's free.
It is free. There's also a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer.
So I don't have to upload and change platforms.
Nope, not at all. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so it'll be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more.
Without me having to do it?
Yep, and you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership.
Are you kidding me?
Not at all. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So go ahead on over, download the free Anchor app, or go to anchor.fm, ANCHOR.FM to get started.
And that's with a capital A.
Hello everybody, what's going on? It's Shadows of the Moon. Hope all is well with you. How are you doing? How is your life going? Let me know in the comments below. I want to hear from you. I want to know what's going on in your life. Anyway, you might have heard me talk a lot about inspired action. Today, we are going to talk about what is an inspired action. What is it all about? What the hell does it mean? So today, in this podcast, hopefully, you'll learn what inspired action really is, how to tell the difference between action versus inspired action, and how inspired action will aid you in manifesting the dreams and desires that you want. Plus, we'll talk about some journal prompts to guide you to listen to your inner knowing and taking inspired action with faith and trust, even when it doesn't always make sense. Okay? So, the law of attraction and manifestation. If you follow the law of attraction, if you listen to my podcasts, you've likely heard the phrase inspired action throughout your manifestation journey. One of the key components of manifesting your dreams is to take inspired action towards your dreams and desires. So, you might be asking, Shadows, well, what the hell does that mean? What is an inspired action? And how is it different than any other kind of action you might take? Well, let's talk about that. Inspired action is often the missing link when it comes to manifesting your dream life. Popular media will sometimes, of course, make fun of the law of attraction, depicting it as simply staring at a vision board and hoping really hard that your dreams will come true. And when someone tries to manifest their dreams and claims that manifestation doesn't work for them, it's often because they're missing one of the most important steps in manifesting. And that's taking inspired action. Manifestation is so much more than simply looking at a vision board and wishing that everything you put on the board will come true. Manifestation takes believing in yourself, setting intentions, vibrating at the frequency of your desires, following your intuition, taking inspired action when your inner knowing calls, and trusting in the universe and that it will guide you. Today we're going to focus specifically on inspired action. Part of the manifestation journey is inspired action. So let's go ahead and get into it. What is inspired action, and how do you know when your actions are inspired or not? So what is inspired action, right? It's a phrase often used in law of attraction spaces, but what many don't know is that inspired action is actually a law itself. The law of inspired action is one of the 12 laws of the universe. And it's intertwined with the law of attraction as well as the other universal laws. So what is it exactly, right? The law of inspired action states that you must take real, actionable, inspired steps in the law to achieve your goals and allow your dreams to manifest in your life. So let's break that down. First, it says that you must take real, actionable, inspired steps. Real and actionable aren't too complicated. A real step means that you take action instead of simply imagining it in your head, which a lot of times is hard to do. Actionable means it's something that you can be acted upon. All of this simply means you're doing something and not sitting around waiting for things to happen. And it's a big part of it, because a lot of us, we manifest, or we, envision what our future is going to be and how we're going to get there, but we don't actually take the step. Because that first step is freaking hard. I'll tell you, I've done it all my life. Done it all my life, and I'm not going to lie, because, like, I've always wanted to help people, right? Always been in customer service. I'd say 80% of my life I've always been in customer service, because I've always wanted to help people, right? And a couple years ago, I knew what I wanted to help people in this way, but I felt like I wasn't good enough. I, shouldn't start doing this because I've already established myself in the paranormal, UFO, encrypted societies. But even though I pushed through and did the paranormal, UFO, and cryptid stuff, I wasn't fulfilled. I didn't feel fulfilled, right? And so I would still do these shows, and I'm thinking that most of you seen at the end of when I stopped doing paranormal and everything like that, I basically, you could tell the difference from when I first started with my enthusiasm and everything like that, but at the end of it, I really wasn't enthused anymore about it. Does that make sense? And I'm sure most of you that were my regulars could tell that. So with these videos, though, you can tell I'm totally inspired. I want to help people. I am helping people. I'm still doing the paranormal, cryptid, and UFO videos, but just not all the time. You know what I mean? So I feel fulfilled. But it was getting to the step of doing these videos that it was until my inspired action started, right? I was always inspired, but I didn't know how to do the videos. I didn't know what. So finally I just said, screw it, I'm doing them. And now I'm like, every day I'm totally inspired to do more videos for you guys, right? And what topics about. Like, they keep coming to me and I'm like, yeah, okay. Let's do it. So anyway, like I said, let's break this. A real step means obviously you take action towards, instead of simply imagining it in your head. Actionable means it's something it can be acted upon. All of this simply means that you're doing something, not sitting around waiting for things to happen. It's the inspired part that makes it a little bit more complicated. So, have you ever felt a deep inner knowing about something? An inspired step is an action derived from that inner knowing. It's when something deep within you calls you into action. And even when it doesn't make sense, you still do it. Inspired action is based on surrendering to the guidance of the universe and listening to the call of your inner knowing. It's kind of like, I refer it to the nun's calling. Like, you ask a nun, right, what inspired her, and most likely she say, and I'm sure it's for monks too, and everybody else in the religious, they heard the calling. They heard the calling. This is what they're talking about. That calling. Like, you have a calling to do something in this life, but you don't know what it is, right? And then you get the inspiration of what it is. Instead of thinking about doing it and how about doing it, just do it. And everything else will come to you. Does that make sense? Inspired action, like I said, is based on surrounding the guidance of the universe and listening to the call of your inner knowing. By not taking that inspired step, you may be blocking your manifestations from fully forming in your reality. That's what the second half of the bolded definition above means. In order to achieve your goals and allow your dreams to manifest in your life. When you follow your intuition and take inspired actions, you allow your dreams to manifest, often in unexpected ways. It may not look exactly as if you had thought it would, and that's a lot of it too. But if you trust the universe guidance, there's a good chance it'll turn out even better than you believed. At the heart of it, inspired action comes down to this: trust. Even when something doesn't make logical sense, you trust the universe to carry you to the place where all your dreams and desires are waiting for you. So let's talk about action versus inspired action. So how do you know if you're taking inspired action versus simply taking action towards your dreams? Well, this isn't truly something that can be quantified or put into a spreadsheet. It's also not that anyone else can tell you whether or not your actions are inspired or not. Only you know whether it's inspired action from the way it feels. I like to use dating as an example of action versus inspired action. Let's say you decided you wanted to manifest a really great loving relationship, right? You know it's unlikely that the love of your life will come knocking on your door, so you must take the action to meet someone. Actions might include going out to a bar or a coffee shop, asking one of your friends to play matchmaker, or joining an interleague soccer club where you might meet other singles. You are taking action, which is a good thing, but you still haven't met someone special. And to make it worse, something deep inside you is telling you to make an online dating profile. OkCupid specifically. But here's the problem. You are completely resistant to meeting someone this way. Your mind is set on meeting someone the old-fashioned way, and you refuse to budge, even when you start seeing external signs like articles about online dating success stories and random strangers talking about OkCupid behind you in the coffee line. You ignore those signs and insist that your path is the best way. By going to bars and joining a soccer club, you're taking action, but it isn't inspired action. Inspired action is when you finally sign up for that online dating service and create a profile. Putting yourself out there in a way that feels both scary and exciting. You've released resistance and have finally allowed the universe to take you exactly where you want to go. Finally, after months of lackluster results, you go on the best date of your life. Now, inspired action isn't always easy. It often requires going outside your comfort zone and even doing things that don't always make sense. But you may need to release stubborn resistance and admit your way isn't always the best way. We all like to have that control. However, just because it may not feel easy doesn't mean it should feel bad. In fact, that's quite the opposite. Inspired action should feel good. It should feel right. It should feel like your entire body is breathing a sigh of relief as it quietly whispers, "Finally, this is where I'm meant to be." Inspired action should feel like coming home. Now, I speak from personal experience, like I said before. When you finally let go of resistance and take inspired action, you laugh at yourself for taking so long. And with each successful step, it's becoming easier and easier to trust the universe's plan for you. So let's talk about examples of inspired action. I'm lucky to say that inspired action has never been something I've resisted in my life. You know, I've talked about it many times on the show about synchronicities and looking for those signs. I've always looked for those signs. Even before I knew what manifestation and law of attraction were, I was constantly making decisions and taking actions based on what I felt in my heart. I'm an empath. I'm high sensitive. That's what I do. That is my whole life. But doesn't mean that I didn't ignore things. Do you know what I mean? The hardest part was trying to explain my decisions a lot to my family and friends as well. And from their perspective, my actions might have seemed to come out of nowhere. But in the main ones, I knew deep down inside I was doing the right thing. So, and don't get me wrong, even though I would second guess myself. That's a lot of my problem, is that even though I know to follow my intuition, it's been proven to me over and over and over that the universe has my back. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. But I second guess myself. And until I started learning to trust myself and where I was going, did the more inspired action come about. And I did inspired action, and then boom, 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 boom. So, and it's still going on, don't get me wrong. It hasn't stopped. I'm still inspired, I still do inspired action every day. But it's easier now. And I'm not worried about the outcome. I'm not worried about what's going to happen. Because I'm putting stuff out there that helps people. And that's all I ever wanted. That's all I ever wanted. Customer service all my life. Except my first job. My first job was milking cows. But I was 14. I hit 16. Boom. Cashier. Customer service. So, anyway. So let's talk about big life-changing examples of an inspiration. So two of the biggest examples. So some other inspired actions in my life was basically little things that stepped me up. Like, take, for instance, the paranormal, cryptid, and UFO stuff. That was like a stepping stone for me to find and talk more about aliens. Aliens inspired me to look more into, channeling or whatnot. I knew about this stuff long ago, but it was just more research, right? So it inspired me to look into channeling. Channeling inspired me to look in and find, like, Dolores Cannon, for instance, and Bashar, and all that, which turned into inspired action to research meditation and manifestation and law of attraction. Now, when I talk about this stuff, I don't go into whatever I talk about on my channel, whether it be paranormal, UFO, cryptid, self-love. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't come without me researching the hell out of it and testing it my own self, if that makes sense. I don't talk about these subjects, or any subject for that matter, lightly. I never have, never will, just because for the fact that I've done a lot of research into these, and again, this is my path. It doesn't have to be yours, obviously, right? It's not yours, it's mine. So therefore, what, like, little inspired actions in your life has led to another inspired action, or another inspired action. Stepping stones. That's why we say baby steps, right? So let's talk about journal prompts for taking inspired action. So as you answer these questions, if you write them down, and I'll put them in the description below, I'll leave journal prompts in the description for you guys to write down and do yourself. When you be honest with yourself, refrain from self-criticism and self-judgment when it comes to this as well. Even if there are times in your past where you didn't follow your intuition or take inspired action, know that these experiences served and supported your growth. So, write down, like, do I consider myself intuitive? Why or why not? What are some past experiences in which I followed my intuition and this led me to making the right choice? Have I ever not followed my intuition and wished I had? I think we've all done that. What have I learned from those experiences? Do I trust myself into making good decisions? Fear is a normal experience when you take a leap and follow your inner knowing. Write at least 10 affirmations about your strength, power, and courage to feel the fear and move forward anyway. Repeat each affirmation twice. And is it worth me to take inspired action even if it doesn't allow or it doesn't always make sense? Why or why not? So, like I said, I will put up on the blog, or anyway, I will leave a link in the description of what journal prompts for you guys. So, what does inspired action mean to you? In what ways has taking inspired action supported your manifestation journey? Leave a comment. And of course, if you guys have any questions, always feel free to leave questions in the comments as well. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this. I know it's a little bit on the short side. I'm sorry. I didn't talk slower. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day or night, wherever and whenever you are listening to this. And yeah, again, thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. I really, really, truly do. Thank you for being a part of my world. You guys inspire me as it is. I'm telling you, you do. You really do. I love you guys. And until our energies meet again, thank you so much for watching. And remember, find something today that makes you smile with your eyes. Love you guys. Mwah. Bye.